did. Very
You
inspiring.
first heard that. I thought it was some doctor.
Yep, me too. Me too. Some person out there, Dr. Todd, helping us out,
Yeah.
changing municipal government. Or all governments, I guess. Yeah, very inspiring, some of the presentations.
But, a blank form for the inspection tomorrow, and I brought one that's all filled out
Okay,
for a different property, but. So I did that,
thank you.
and then I wrote up comments to, the whole drawing, but I wanna go over them. Maybe we can get copies made. Want to go on, I wouldn't add that to the agenda tonight.
For what?
I want to put add this to the agenda for tonight's meeting with the comments that I had to the Bighorn plans.
Oh, okay, great. Did you find a bunch of differences in the site plan?
Basically two things, just that they need to make sure that they know about our Davis sandstone color, you know, what we do with concrete, and then I did find Jennifer helped me find the lighting drawing that we approved way back sometime, back when it was called Roseville, that was before it was called Bighorn,
Now
before it's called whatever the hell it's called now.
Lakeview. I haven't zoomed up right now, just so you know, so. Hi, Brian.
How are you doing?
Great, how are you?
Good. And then you
Oh, you're only 12 minutes early.
know, house in the vacuum.
The Zoom has started, so you're on time to start.
Good.
We had a woman reach out to us about putting some art on the wall that her husband painted.
Yeah.
Well, you have something to look at when you meeting.
Hi, Brian. How you doing? Feel pretty good? Good. Have a good 2 weeks? Busy 2 weeks. Yeah, busy. Get more stuff. Still going, I guess? Oh, my.
Thank you. Hi, Susan. Yeah. How are you? Good. Good. I'm excited to see you more often.
How's your new building go?
It's huge. You can see it.
Is that building for sale? Are you about to speak? It is.
Yeah, so if you want to see the inside of my apartment, they took very high quality pictures of it, without telling me ahead of time, so.
Oh,
My
and
favorite.
do you have a lease?
Yeah,
So that will go with the property, but
at least for,
3 months, I think.
6 months is when my lease ends, so. And then whoever buys it will get to decide if I get to stay.
Yeah.
It's so fun to move again, can't wait.
Yeah.
Hi Keith.
Did he get onto the? Yes, he did. Good.
Yes, I did, it's time. Brian, are you on the street?
Right now?
So,
There's another Brian. Check right on his in. Something you're doing again.
I don't have to, you know.
Someone is, that's something you over here.
The time warp.
Let's see what they say.
Continuum, thank God.
Other Brian Stanley, who are you? And then George, is that your dad?
Yeah, but. you know,
He's on here
I don't know what.
too.
Just posted it.
You're Brian Stanley.
Hey, Taser.
And every year or two, this limit has then been pushed up by another tenth of a solar panels. So within the past few years, we've observed a handful of neutron stars.
Oh, Keith, I muted you because you have some sound going on in the background. Oh, okay, sorry, Brian Schnittgrund, Brian Stanley. I'm back on the same page. Sorry, Brian.
Because there's not two of me.
Yeah, there's two Brians and that have an
All
S.
three, all three of them, so.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
If they're very successful.
I'm gonna pop down the stairs and we'll be back in a minute.
Yep.
Okay.
Might not have a quorum.
Really?
I know, for me. I'm like,
I think that needs to go in the minutes.
right. I'm running up the stairs. Seconds ago. So, I'm here. I'm okay. Yes. I am overworking underpaid, but I can. And that has nothing to do with this stuff. That has to do with the other stuff. Now, so angry at Cena.
You can get that all straightened out yesterday.
Jeez. Every day, it's a new thing. Is it? Every single day, you know, I'm trying to put plans for Argentina North. Food, so we go get. Every day, there is. Yes, I did send in the form on, but they will allow us to find our own street lights.
Good.
Thank you for your help, Ethan. Today, they're saying they don't have a sign off on biologists yet. And I asked you what biology you pictures have to be. Wait, on 22nd Street.
Asian frogs are toads down here.
No, there's no boreal toads. No, it's one of the things that we started. Is the thing that usually hangs these things up is the N06 is the historic thing, because you have to do it anywhere in Georgetown. We completed that last. Yeah.
Ding dong, that wasn't me, that was that.
You get to watch movies.
Yeah.
Mark said he was gonna be on Zoom.
Oh. Yeah, he's there.
He's there,
And Keith is there.
and Keith is there.
Is that better?
Yeah.
We gotta make sure we can hear Keith, because Keith gets the vote.
Yeah.
Why do we have movies over there?
I don't know. I think you can only have one TV at a time.
Oh, no, it's been- and then just- Well, it's maybe for him, for talking about it. I think you-
Yeah.
Oh. Rebecca?
So, good job. I was studying for New York.
Yes.
I just not that in college. So no, it's such a rare thing.
I guess you should. You're all by yourself, because we don't have friends online.
No, but
Let's space out.
Down there, I just wondered if I can still come home.
I'm going to switch over. I didn't want to Sean or by myself.
Excuse me.
I keep choosing company.
Yeah.
Okay, start, you'd like to take the roll?
Okay, Jim Eaton.
Here.
Sean Platt.
Here.
Cindy Neely.
Here.
Lexi Blakeslee.
Here.
Keith Prosick.
Here.
Ooh, good one. Mark Reynolds.
Here.
Bob Hamilton.
Here.
Frank Ganser.
Wow,
Okay,
good crowd.
that worked.
Let me get through what the agenda is. We don't got anything else?
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know, so it's okay.
No, Rob, do you want to do an update on Strasbourg?
I can do that.
That's the only thing I add to it in the back.
Oh, and I do want to,
And items to track should still, I think, should start park on it, should start close to them.
and I want to add any discussion items on, review of the latest submittal on, Bighorn.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
They want
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I would move to, put the agenda as amended.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. All right, so. Old and new business, Doris Smith and Brian Stanley, 926 Rose Street. And this is on continuing projects, so.
Yeah, and it's considered an amendment to an existing,
I wouldn't consider it an amendment. Brian, you can speak on it if you'd like to, but it's their driveway, which I think is separate from the house that they've been building. I don't know what you guys would consider that to be.
that's more of a technical question. I mean, I'm not sure that's up to us. Typically, we would have let them come in as an amendment. Because an amendment, you can add something to you can also add something in the driveway. It's attached to
No,
so, and I think typically we do that because we want people to come with little things.
Yeah.
And rather than have to pay for a whole new application.
That's fair.
So if that's more a money question than it is a process question.
Sure.
to, they will always take.
I did charge him the money, so sorry, Brian.
I think we should. So do we want to make this an amendment? Or not?
What?
Do we want to make this an amendment or just,
I would, we could just say this is the amendment to their.
okay,
Well, he already paid the $60, so
What?
he already paid us for
well,
the,
we can put that a credit on their thing, they may have something else they want to come in for too, but.
You have to pay for amendment though too. No, not at all.
No, we do in the middle of it on building, that's why we want to, so.
Well, I don't want to complicate it.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about concrete work and flagstone.
Okay, then.
Are they online?
Yes.
yeah, Brian's here.
The town would be supplying the flagstone. So we know that its dimensions are sidewalk dimensions.
It probably will not be full sidewalk dimensions. We're gonna supply flagstone from what we have left over. We'll have to cut some, I mean, there's all kinds of different
Pieces of
sizes.
squares.
Okay,
The intent is to do it in rectangular pieces, big pieces.
yes. I just, it as the sidewalk, it lives better if you can get,
Wide and big pieces.
and big pieces, yes, if you can get 3 inches and 5 foot wide, it's, yeah, it does much better than 2 inches and, small, because that lifts and that does all of that. But at this point, they're not supplying the flagstone, we are.
Yeah, but they'll install.
Okay, and the installation is in what? Are we installing the sand, are we installing in?
On our road base. Yeah.
On the
Same,
road base?
Yeah,
Yeah, but not concrete,
no,
no, okay. Because we don't want. And the driveway plan. The can come from the street into the driveway. Can we, what is the spec on that? we've said it's Davis, 5237, but, the quantity of that matters. So it should be a 2 pound to what it is.
Yeah, it's 2 pounds per bag of cement
Yeah,
for the surface. In 1 pound per bag of cement for any curbs, gutters and stuff like that.
yes, but the pan would get 2 pounds. The driveway pan should get 2 pounds.
Yeah, the driveway would get the 2 pounds.
Yes.
Because it's a walking surface.
Okay, so I think we should specify that it's 2 pound per, whatever, it's 96,
Per 94 pound bag
94 pound.
of cement.
And the aggregate,
We specified up to 3/8. Yeah, 1/8 to 3/8.
okay, with the 1/8 to 3/8 aggregate.
We can give them this thing here, this can put together.
That, I suspect would make it a lot easier for them.
Yeah, they can't have that, that's something that's got more stuff on it. But I can send that over.
If you can send it to Kasia, then
Yeah,
she could
she's,
give them a copy with their CLA.
Yeah, and she could have it as a regular, this
you
is
have to put it on with the rest of the stuff on our website.
on our website,
Yes.
this is the spec for your concrete. And
Right.
certainly will.
She'll send that. What size was the aggregate? 3/8 to 1/8 to
1/8 to 3/8.
Is an exposed aggregate,
Mhm.
okay.
Okay.
Is this not working? They can see you and hear you and talk, you just can't see the screen on the TVs at all.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hear you.
Okay, so I'm here. This is Brian.
Talking to Darth Vader. Brian, did you hear the conversation about the spec for the concrete so they can?
Right.
Brian, can you hear what they're talking about as far as the specs for the driveway apron?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
I think Joyce is on too.
Yes, and I did allow, Joyce, you can speak if you'd like to, you should have permission.
Okay, the setting I have for that is.
Can hear you.
Okay.
The citing I would have for that is in book 2, under residential parking garages and driveways, page actually 56, so the section starts on page 55.
What about on 53 is sidewalks?
Are we gonna do the driveway first?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, please, that's okay. As long as we're on 56E, use of paving materials to minimize the impact of the driveway. E1, exposed aggregate concrete are appropriate paving materials.
That's just for the pan.
That's for the pan, right, right. And then on page 53, under sidewalks. B, when sidewalks are to be installed or replaced, they should be compatible with the historic character of the streetscape. Sidewalks should be made with red flagstone that matches with, well, the original and color texture, size and finish, but that's basically, yes, we're doing red flagstone. And it's not white flagstone. And I think that's the two things that they were requesting, yes.
And we're gonna motion.
I move that we approve the Driveway, apron, sidewalk amendment for 926 Road Street.
Under second, I'll second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Against?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, everybody. Anything,
Thank-
anything you guys need anything from us?
Brian, this is Bob Hamilton. You can get a hold of me when you get ready to do this and, you know, I can help you whatever you need with it.
Okay, so you're now comfortable with you have the material?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll have the material. We'll have to go up and follow through it and keep good pieces that we can cut in the right shape and everything, but I don't see that as a problem.
Great, okay. Yeah, I'll give you a call next couple of days then. Thanks, everyone.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
good to see you.
Good to see you. And next we have Barn Street, 915 Main Street.
What we're considering tonight is not 915 or Main Street. What we're considering is the change of height on 921 Main Street. Isn't that true?
I think we have.
He did provide, so it only has 921. I do have some new drawings for him for 915.
Which we haven't seen before this good second.
You saw 915 last
I
time.
know, but we haven't seen any of the changes before right now.
Correct.
Right, and this is still kind of in the preliminary, right? This
Yes.
is just a review tonight.
Yes.
Okay,
So- Would you like to start with 921 or 915?
Let's start with 921, so we can
Okay.
take care of 921.
So this is the most updated for 921.
And you know, it's very difficult to get this settled out. I would suspect that anybody would know that there's no decision that you take. That we got on.
That is partially my.
Okay, so this is 921.
Yeah,
So after last meeting for 915. And all the discussion we had about the height and mass inside of the house,
Uh-huh.
all I did was think about 921 on my walking and for the next few days, about how I could make it fit the neighborhood better, shorten the size, without, because I'm already on the second floor, so I can't change any of the structure. It has to fit where it is already. So it did take some time for me to come up with this and work on 915, but this is more complete than 915 is, and this is, you know, I'm holding off work on 921 to see if the shortening will work, and then 915, the variance is there on height maybe, because of the way it works on 915, it's just, we can get in first, 915. When we get into that later, we can kind of combine it all into one conversation. What you want to do.
I don't think you want to combine that
Oh.
with 915 at this moment. Let's just handle 921. There's no applications for us, and this one's pretty straightforward and.
So this is just basically some changes to one that's already been approved. And so let's see,
Amendment.
yes, so let's see what you're proposing here.
So on this one, on 921, we shortened it 4 feet. And I have to lose a bedroom on the top floor because of the constricting heights because of the lowering of the walls. And so one of the bedrooms became a laundry room, so it's still a 3-bedroom house with a laundry room upstairs. And that's the variance of the window in the back on West 1, there's a window in the middle of the 2 gables that are new, those are the 2 bedrooms. And then if you didn't like the window, there's another one without the window shown on top of that. But that's the way the laundry room, that's where the laundry room is, not where the old bedroom used to be. So with everything shortening down and coming into the house and higher things, as I said, we had to lose the bedroom and kind of make it that way, this way.
I like the roof line though. Remember last time we just kind of had those little kind of things that were just, they
And there was
didn't,
just one in the back,
yeah.
and that was just a structure, wasn't even structural. it was just a
Right,
back.
right, just to break.
Just to
it back.
break up the roof line and you know, from the previous.
Yeah, I like this.
Okay, so we're gonna be talking about this little guy,
That's where we.
and is this the one you want?
So it doesn't, if you guys like it with the window, without that little window is a laundry room, it used to be a bedroom. And that would be the escape window for in case of a fire, so with the lower wall, I couldn't put an escape window in that wall. And that's why it turned into the laundry.
So it'll be this, it would be this instead of this.
No,
No,
There should be old written on the bottom of the one in the packet.
and so when you got the north elevation, that's the west elevation. It's changed. Oh, okay.
Oh, this,
The west and the east elevations. Oh, okay, so the little window is the one in the middle you're talking about.
yeah, this is this.
Yeah, well, that's not what's approved now. This was just a preliminary, this is the way I think I'm gonna change it, and it's a fluid thing that goes on up here. with the design. So
let me see.
that changed to that one because there were too steep of peaks there and there's still too much roof line. So we changed it to that and, made this room a little bit more usable with this little.
Right, but this is the way you'd like to go.
Yes,
All right, so I'm gonna put that.
that one is just an old one that I turned in previously. I think it again before I changed it again.
So on the west side, that's what you would like to be looking at.
Yes. And I know that sometimes you guys don't like the way the windows line up or whatever, so the back, on the other side is the one without the windows,
Yeah. It's
So there's the choice of-
about that one.
the choice of breaking it up.
See, it's either that or that on the west.
Yeah, I like the little
I-
window.
I like the little window.
I like the little window, and I don't have a problem that it sits lower, that it still sits lower, I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of mimics the roof line in the back. I don't like it.
I like how that's
It's.
daylight.
Yeah, definitely light in that room, on the way you have it.
I mean, it's still a little tiny, little window close to the floor, but it's still, it's daylight.
But visually, there is really certainly not a substantial difference between this one and this one. And there's much better overall balance. And this one there is there, so, so yes, okay. And then on the east side, that's actually running with the map.
Yes, we changed quite a bit. We added another gable in the garage, which broke up that roof line a little bit more. Well, and that's really it. The other two gables were there. They just got shorter to the ground. And I added that one in the garage on the south side of the house.
Two questions, where is the ground line? Just one by there, it's the ground.
The ground is this white line here, poly three is the driveway.
Which white line?
So even with this one.
No, the reason but the reason that I ask it is that one of the things that happens quite frequently is that, people measure from the base of the house and they do not measure exposed foundation.
This is from the foundation up from the,
Yeah, none of this would be exposed.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking, because,
Yeah.
and, you know, even if you look across the street from you, if you measure from the bottom of the siding of the house, you have missed a couple of feet that's actually exposed, so that's, but
doesn't get surprised. Yes, this
Yeah.
is from the top of the foundation.
that's from, yeah, and it will all be back, it will not be exposed.
Oh, almost that.
Yeah, yes, I understand most of it.
And it's gonna look like a whole until 9:15 or so, and then it's all gonna be
Okay.
re-landscaped, so.
So you get it,
One of the things that the, actually, the list of things says is, the elevation of the finished grade and top of the foundation. So if you indicate a top of foundation in the drawings, it's a little easier for us.
This has the height of the ridge line from here to here, and then it's got I'm assuming that's the midpoint to the
Yes.
gable, right there, so he is measuring from that.
Yes, he's measuring from here, that's what means,
So across there.
yeah. Okay, but what I'm saying, John, is we have lots of people who measure from here and they actually are only backfilling down
Oh,
from
yeah,
here. They're ground, yeah, and he's backfilling all the way up to his house.
He's got
But there is a distinct difference, and we have a number of houses that are, all of a sudden, you've got a popped up 2 or 3 feet of foundation.
It's gonna be, from what you see when you walk by,
It's gonna be
it's gonna be
flat.
flat all in the foundation. You're gonna step up into the house from the
Yeah.
floor to the currently there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that,
Correct.
because I would like us to measure height from the grade, not from the,
Bottom of it.
not from the bottom of the structure of the siding, but it should be measured from the grade. And essentially you have measured it from the grade. And that's why I want to make sure that's what's the grade.
Yeah, so that's street grade.
Yeah, street grade, yes. Yeah.
That's right.
Going.
It's gonna tackle all of it.
Now, what is this little snake?
That's the route that comes over the north side door.
It goes past the roof on this page now. That was, the other side is the other side of the church. I gotta go down to.
Well, this is this roof over here, there's a door that goes up.
He plays the back of that.
These are gonna have the north side view, the little. It goes over the basement.
So is this just an open path?
There's gonna be a wood deck.
Wood deck.
Yeah. That was on the original plans. It's not on. The structure.
Brian, how many was slopes on the roof on the east side, what difference is slope?
This is 6, and 8.
Yeah, these are 6s, yes, they
And
were-
then that's an 8.
and that's me. And the garage is set back ever so slightly?
When the garage was set
Set
forward
forward.
and then we kept bringing it back and we got 2 feet from,
So it's set back.
it's set forward from the deck 2 feet. And that's set back, but that was all, and that's not what we're amending to that, so already got approved.
Yes, yeah.
It's set, the house steps back and steps back and steps back.
Okay, I was just trying to get it in my. I know it's. Is this the design for the garage?
No, the garage door is,
You can see the garage depth on the north side.
What?
You can see the depth of the garage on the north side.
That's the corner of this part of the house.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I brought up the original packet to you.
We're talking about the garage door, didn't we?
Yes, yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's already.
So
Because
Well,
the change here, is the original measurement of the height of the house and center of gable was.
it was not.
27.
Mhm.
Oh, well,
just that door, I'm sorry, because I basically just cut the wall in half.
it would have been 22.
Yeah.
Make the wall, I took 4 foot off, and just dropped it down, so all the measurements from ridge and midpoint here was dropped in. 4 feet.
Yeah, it was 22.
Not the midpoint.
Well, yeah.
And 20.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it's, he basically showed the height of the different gables, the ridge line, full height was 27.2, now it's 23.1. And then this lower gable here it's down to 18.9, but it was 22.4, so the whole thing's come down about 4 feet.
Yeah. Would be very helpful.
I think proportionally,
Yeah, it's.
it makes a huge difference. The front of the house from the street looks. You know, the height is proportional to the width. I mean, it
That's
has,
what it looks like.
rather than, I mean, I think that this is a huge change in terms of the way it looks.
After the last meeting, I took a lot of thought into it and decided what I was gonna change about which one first. And I thought 921 needed some change first because I need to get to work on it.
Right.
And to the point of, I need to either build it this way or this way tomorrow.
No, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Are you happy with, I mean, I think this is a really big improvement.
I would say I'm glad that it's shorter and it's gonna save me in the expense of building it, but it's not because the ridge beams are all over the place and I have to put it in there. Now, I already bought the material, so there's extra material laying around, but either way, it doesn't matter. I do like the size of this better, because I think it fits the neighborhood.
It fits better, yeah.
It does.
I think it looks better. Well, it's definitely more in scale with other stuff, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, this is an amendment, so it's.
He submitted this stuff to me too late to be, to get for my report, to receive a COA. However, he wanted to get sort of the thumbs up from you guys, and the next meeting, he will get his formal COA.
This is an amendment to a CO.
An amendment to the COA, yes.
Yeah.
If you'd like to do it tonight, I can, you can just inform me of like last minute things, and I take that.
Well, things have to be on our posted agenda for the public to know.
Yes, and this was not, so.
Yeah, and since he's already into this project, usually amendments are not kind of under, all right.
Yeah.
We don't have to be as strict on that because it's not like somebody's gonna come in and object to the project at this time. So he's just letting us know there's changes. So we can do an amendment tonight,
Okay,
and I'll just have to get,
sure, I can have that ready for you before.
okay, so
Actually, I
can you guys give me some sightings?
Oh.
Okay, so for the future, if it's an amendment and they turn it into me after the deadline, you'll accept it for a COA.
If it's an ongoing
If it's an amendment.
COA.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an ongoing COA, and, because we don't. I think we've got a terminology thing here sort of going on, because when you say for a COA, that sounds like a fresh document,
Yeah, yeah.
and this isn't fresh document. You're not gonna be issuing another COA.
Yeah.
You're simply gonna indicate that that one was amended.
Okay.
Because people come in with little amendments, like, I want an extra window right here, I'm constructing.
All right, have to change this because things didn't, that happens.
And do you typically fill out a decision form for that, but not the actual COA
Yeah,
template? Okay,
yeah. So we document the meeting results here, but we don't need a new CO.
got it.
So I still need sightings.
So did we use the siding on page 55 of B, the garage, not the streets and?
Yes, we used all of those.
Yeah, we
because
don't-
we was something like a roof sign, actually. Because it's changed the, it has changed the shape of the roof,
I like the funnel a lot better.
Do we just need to include the latest set of drawings in that gets, because everything else has been approved.
right,
I think if we just
Yeah.
refer to the drawings and include them in the, so we know which set of drawings we're looking at.
Okay,
right, we got it.
And I've got some,
Somebody's got to sign a set of drawings, so.
okay, I can do that with this.
we'll do it, try to get the right ones.
Oh, okay, that's it, it's already right. Okay, great. We talked about, is everything else on these then? What we
There is the siding, you know, if they.
Oh, yeah, well, I need something to put on the thing.
Right, because they're, I'm on page 10 of book 2, and it's building in roof form, and, it's D, roof to be similar in size to those used historically on comparable buildings. Oh, yeah. And that's the intent. So I figured that's a good citing, it's D on page 10.
Okay.
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 And the other thing is that it does, the other part of it, the maximum ridge length here is long, but the other thing this does nicely is visually cut into that long.
No, I think it's really good, everything we've looking for.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had a problem with it.
yeah. I feel like the whole thing's.
So we have to do. So,
You know, something right.
That's. So do we have a motion on the floor?
no.
I move that we, amend this, COA for 921 as proposed in, shortening the height and, to 18, like, well, whatever, shortening the height and, improving the roof pitch. Roof line.
There was a window change, but I don't think that.
Oh, and the addition of a small window on the, west side.
So we're gonna go with the window.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's what you want, because
That's what I think.
good. Okay.
I mean,
So we have this, all in favor? Aye. Against? Okay.
is- Keith should be voting, is Steve voting?
No, he's.
I said yes.
He's there, right?
Oh, is he in?
He's there?
Ah, okay. Oh, cool. He's good. Oh, you're good. Okay, thank you. And then I don't see any paperwork for 9:15.
He also didn't submit anything in time to see the COA for
Right.
9:15.
We're not ready to do 9:15 yet, but I thought you had some changes.
We have changes, we're just going back over the changes to see.
Did you submit any pictures or anything? Oh, do you have this? Yes. Oh, yes.
So this is a continuation of our preliminary discussions on 9:15. I walked out before I saw them.
So one thing to note on the east elevation, that the roof line over the bay window, that's not what's gonna be there. That was just, I had to put something there in the rush that I was trying to get up here today. Didn't have enough time to draw that window in correct. I submitted a copy of this, I don't know if it's in the package.
Oh, yeah.
This is a roof that I would like to put over that. I can't draw that with my, I mean, I could, but it would take me another few hours and wouldn't take. So this, I mean, this is the lowest copy I can find, this is not from Colorado, it's from out of state, I'll find a copy of Smith in Colorado. and
No,
sure.
you're gonna have it.
It will go with, it will turn green, it will look cool
Yeah.
in 2 to 7 years.
Right, well, around here pretty good. Okay. So, okay, do we want to just start with the east side then? Besides the building there? Did you change anything else on here?
Well, the heights are all changed.
Yeah, the height
And
of
the heights are down
17 feet.
drastically.
Right in, well, that's right, like the,
Yeah.
right in the.
Fine.
The boundary.
And then, I don't have my old ones with me, but you added this, on the right side of the front doors, you added this thing right here. Are you sure?
I
Okay.
added this is a little shutter on the side on the south view.
Okay,
This is now a two foot bigger wall, that's a bathroom, so there's no way to use the bathroom, so I have. Kind of put that little shutter on.
okay.
To take it up to the usable on the south view. I was gonna put another dormer there, I still can, obviously, when you guys say, but. I thought that was a little bit too gable to dormer out.
On the north side, the south side, you mean?
South.
Yeah, I don't think you need to get this. Yeah.
Yeah, they got, leave a dormer there and see how it's. Got the left.
Yeah, I know that. Probably a little bit.
And that is a bay window.
Well,
It's a true bay window.
it's a bay.
True bay
Sitting
window.
on top, sitting on foundation.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
always the memorial that's on a house that you.
So it's framed from the foundation. Framed on the foundation, on the basement, the bay windows,
Okay,
there's gonna be the boiler room, so that's part of the.
but it's not a given, I'm looking at the window in the bay,
Yeah.
in the back.
No, it's part of the wall.
It's a window in a bay shaped alcove.
Right. How about two windows in there that look like they shed light?
Well, so that, the window in the front is the evacuation for that bedroom. Have to be.
Down here?
Yeah, down. That's the main, that's the master bedroom. And, we only have window, it's having the egress, that's the egress window. We only have, this is the other, the south side, these windows are facing or on either side of the master bedroom or master bedroom, you would put it there. There's no way to put an egress window there. Only way to put one is.
What about a bigger window? No.
Double window.
Yeah.
But what he's after is the
But then you
size
couldn't
of
do
the
that.
egress. You know,
Egress
I didn't think
facing
about
sides.
that a little bit. When I look at my house, we might have had any knowledge, literally took out those old picture windows and put in windows, our windows would be the size of bugs every time I go in my.
Could you put the egress window on the south side?
Well, there's, if the egress windows on the south side, there's no wall for the floor plan, there's no wall for the bed to go on. So you can't put the bed in the bay window, in the back wall, it's. Got a wall, or a closet in the bathroom door, you just.
Okay.
In my head, because I'm building it for me, that's where my bed's gonna go.
Are there specific dimensions for an egress or is it just the way it opens?
It's square.
It's specific.
It's
Side, you can't get an egress window, because
Okay,
it doesn't meet the criteria.
okay.
You can't put out, there's fire.
Maybe I'd have 5.2 square feet or something in the square when it's
It's gotta
open.
be
Yeah,
amended,
but that's-
like, all that is,
Yeah,
there's a bunch of parameters.
first floor's fine.
It's the main.
5.0.
3 different sizes.
First floor. I think that's 5.7.
The difference is.
I can get what the widths and height are.
Whenever I talk to any companies, like, oh, well, they're all the big sizes, we're not gonna tell you until you give us a plan.
That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have to have
I
them.
think the narrowest you can get is a 30-inch wide window.
I'm doing 30 by 60.
Right now, actually.
Then it would just be that one square showing the skinny ones.
Two of those, but it's.
Right, on the front elevation, the upper windows,
Yeah.
is it feasible to make? You either put a double, two smaller, so that the proportional. You got a bunch of different sized windows, I think that's probably, it'd be good if we could get. I mean, this one has to be, and I don't really, I mean, that kind of fits the bump out and it doesn't look all that bad, but. If we could make these two the same size, or if this were, even if you wanna make this like a double,
Well,
like that.
the one that we're talking about on the front of the bay window, that is an egress window for us.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
We don't talk about this, this is not better too, that's an egress.
Okay.
And on the south side.
Okay, that looks small.
That is a little smaller.
So can you put two of those in the bottom?
In here,
I don't think there's enough space to squeeze two of those in there.
would you take a look and see if there is?
If I can put it, I was trying to on my computer, but that's a 30 by 60, and that one is a.
Can you
Well,
widen any lower
It's looking at this here, it's not gonna fit in there.
Can you
You're not
widen the
including-
front wall a little
Yeah.
on the
So
back?
this is an
That
egress.
was increasing the
So
space.
that's an egress window upstairs as well.
So,
Square footage is kind of crucial. Okay.
yeah, I could maybe make that window the same size as all the other units, moving the base, so it's not as. Like the larger.
Well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you could get this, because I think I'm doing 30 by 60s and all the other bedrooms out here. If you, I could change that to a 30 by 60.
Yeah, make that the same as the one above it.
That'd be
That, I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think that would help the balance.
And then I don't know
All of a
if
sudden.
you have space to get this for that size or not, it would get kind of tight.
Yeah, I might have to, I could, I could widen the dormer.
Okay, but this is a lovely peak. To this, because this is where, you know, this is, I don't know what your slope here is, but,
Those are both 12 bucks.
this one's a 12, yes, but that one isn't. Is it?
Well, the two upstairs windows.
If I do, this one.
Is it?
This is a little- This just got a little shed, it's a
Yeah,
six. They kind of. This guy's, coming towards.
I think making the lower bedroom window the same size as the upper one
will help that.
helps a lot. And because these are, the other, all the others are pretty much proportional. I mean, I would go.
Yeah.
All the other four windows on the main floor are that thin size on the on the
Yeah,
main floor.
And so the
Yeah,
others two would be the same.
Right,
Similar.
I mean, they just be optical, but, you know, make these two the same width, height.
I'll make sure that those aren't, or.
They probably are.
Sure that they are. I'll make it narrow one.
So that kind of balances off, that makes sense.
The one upstairs might be a little bit shorter now that I'm looking at it because of the.
Shortness doesn't, you know, the fact that it's on the second story, it can be shorter, that doesn't make
This one will be the same
with
way.
it, the proportions are still good. Yeah, and then the ones on the north elevation are good, but they're all proportional. One. And the west is good.
And then the garage door doesn't look like that. Does it?
Well, it's in the original packet I was,
One back, I know.
a garage door that's, I mean, it's a depot on our 21 garage door, painted the color of the
Is
house.
it like those?
No windows in it, it's a solid like the house that we're currently building now.
And how about your window trim? What are we doing?
4 and 6-inch corner boards.
Yeah, which I did.
4-inch window trims?
4 inch, I have it 6 and 8.
And so the cantilever deck wouldn't work.
No, well, I just switched it down to a little 6-foot deck.
Yeah, that'll work. You
And
can-
then I added a staircase that goes out the side, so I don't know it. And I think that unfortunately I did not delete posts in the ones that in the
The stair,
elevations that I sent you on that back deck, that deck is gonna be cantilevered, but it's only 6 foot, so
Okay.
it'll cantilever.
are those
So-
stairs gonna be that long?
What's there?
Like that many stairs?
Yes.
And then you have to put a landing.
I will have to change, because the door doesn't fit there, I'm gonna have to put the stairs out here a little bit, and then.
Well, and then
Because
how
I
do
believe
you?
you're only allowed 15 risers, and this is 18.
Okay,
If you have 15, then you have to have a landing somewhere in the middle.
I will change my riser height.
So that will change.
And so is there a door on this back side upstairs or do you just find it?
Yeah, there's a door on the south side right here, comes off the kitchen onto that patio, and then it's wrapped around.
So,
So everything above this elevated is.
Yeah.
This is back in the building. This is the kitchen.
Yeah, this slope is.
Here, you see. This is like a 6 foot square rectangle that. Opens out.
That was what we had.
Oh, there's a door on this
No,
one.
it wasn't with the last time.
Oh, okay, because I was like.
This is the view of it. Right here.
Yeah.
The middle of it.
Gotcha. I was like, it should go over here.
It's, I mean,
Okay, okay.
That's,
All right.
I should have given it there.
Well, if you look at the side, it makes sense. Old set.
It's open.
Okay, got it.
I don't think, what you have last time.
was that last time, thing, when you come,
We'll see you later.
when you come back, will we get all pieces in one packet, the topography thing and the plot plan showing on the lot, and you have these pieces.
I did, it's disorganized here, it's not our fault, it should be in my brain. Also, I did raise the topography on this one, 1 foot from the bottom. Instead of -9, it's -8 now. I went out and measured it, I can still do -9 or -10, but we're all worried about height and measurements and all that stuff, so I brought it up a little bit, so it's in the grade of -8 now, instead of -9.
Okay,
That makes any
we
sense.
we need to have something that, you know, a real,
Well,
So I do need to turn in a new topography.
yes.
yeah.
Yes, but all I'm trying to do is identify the pieces that we would.
Well, the site, the new site.
A
that'll
new
have
site plan
the
and,
grade.
Yeah.
and
all the
Setback.
pictures.
Yeah, when he's ready to actually get the COA, I'll make sure that the application has all of the pieces that are required.
right, okay, because
And I'll make sure
because right now we are sort of afloat in pieces.
Yeah.
And
that's my fault.
No.
Well, no, this is just, I mean, this is, you're here for discussion, not for this, so you've addressed.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the concerns, basic concerns that we had from last time, because it looks like by reducing that deck, you're probably down to the 40%.
Oh, good thing.
Yeah.
Lot coverage.
And I also changed my door, I don't know if that.
Yeah, I saw that.
The height on the door.
Get rid of those 9-foot doors.
Okay, the south side elevation, windows all okay with everybody?
I think the only windows that I mean, I was thinking about were the footballs.
Okay.
It's the,
I like them with all four lights, is that the just when your computer put in?
Yeah, I can't draw the door that I picked out.
Okay.
That's just showing the space that the door is gonna go.
Those are the security bars, and they're,
Some electrical things and all of
Okay,
that. so.
no, that's okay.
And I would be in here, I guess you would, for excited.
I know, well, it's kind
no, I think we're very much for the right.
yes, yes, really, seriously.
Yeah.
Trying to,
We get all together and.
Thanks for
trying to make everything fit inside of everything look like it is.
Exactly.
Right in the walls there. It's the top, yeah.
I'm also working on some like utility checks and
Yeah.
drainage plan stuff also.
Okay.
So,
And we have to make sure that the utilities are all set up before we find out what totally.
It'll happen in the next 2 weeks or 2. And my drainage weather as well, so.
Well, because we have had the unfortunate experience of going out to whole house and it's the way for somebody who then couldn't get water and sewer.
Pretty sure I can.
Yes. Because we don't repeat that most uncomfortable experience.
I'm pretty sure it's there.
yeah, he is good on, we have most of that finished, so it's just the drainage really that we're.
Yeah, as long as you can find out that, I mean, we don't care what they are, they are.
Yeah, Ryan and Mary will give him the thumbs up, he just needs the drainage plan, so.
Good.
I really like both of them.
Yeah, and at some point, we need a landscape, right?
It's gonna be 0 C.
But not like it is now, right?
Not like it's
Okay. A little bit different.
Dirt and rocks.
Because again, zero escape,
I haven't 100% decided on what kind of 0 C is gonna be
We
there.
have
but,
some state, yeah, to be effective for landscape,
you know,
okay?
All right. Thank you.
Because that, when we start going through all of that landscape, quite often, is where we end up stopping again, and you don't.
Yeah, we're happy with Xeriscape, but we wanna,
Exactly what kinds of.
is that what you could say in Roxford?
Little bit, yes.
Guys,
We got lots of rock walls to build and all sorts of fun.
I admired your fireworks.
We seem to have lots.
Yeah,
Rock
yeah.
walls.
I saw you.
I like that. Okay, well, that's it, well, thank you very much.
Do I need to do anything for 921? It's passed, so.
Well, yeah, we'll have amendments for you.
I'll email that to you, Brian.
And then, so the changes that you made.
And then I'll have the changes in on Monday and I'll see you.
Okay.
Have a good 2 weeks, thank you.
I won't be here this week, just so you know, I have a conference Wednesday and Friday, so. I'll be here Monday. Bye, Brian.
So. What's that?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, before we do streetscape work session, shall we do our other stuff and then finish up?
Yeah.
Including the time, okay. So. Okay, so staff updates, items to track, do we have anything new going on?
I have, still working on expired COAs. It's about the time to start bothering Vincent at 700 Taos again, since it's getting warmer, so we should be starting that work soon. And no updates on Koski or Coley House.
Oh, Holy House. Yes.
There is something.
Oh, yeah, you wanna see the porch going back on? You wanna see what that looks like? Wait, let me find it. Yeah. We're putting the porch back on Colby. And it's gorgeous. The pineal up on top and the sides going on. Yeah, the porch is going back on Colby.
There were a lot of pieces to it.
They need to figure out something to do with that to get people up there so they can enjoy it.
It is a treasure house. It's just incredible. That in 1868, this man had brick carted up from Denver there was no railroad. He had brick carted up from Denver to build the house. Tim thinks that it wasn't actually moved. They say it was moved out of the way of the highway. Yeah. But he said if it was moved, somebody knew how to do 19th century foundations.
Well, we were looking at, when was it? 20th century.
It was moved in, would have been moved in 1965 with the interstate through.
There's a picture and it's got a big yard and stuff around it and the fence with a little stone wall and stuff. It may be that they just moved it up and
Well, it may be that it had a big dining room on the back end of it too.
Yeah.
And that's all gone.
yeah.
So it may be that they just took off of it because the back of the house now is the fill wall for the interstate.
Yeah.
But yes, they had to find something to do with it, but Colby is actually on its way.
Cool. Yeah, we actually noticed that, when this one went to look in and it's got that old plaster and the corners are like rounded.
Oh, yeah, the
Not
inside's gorgeous.
just smooth to round, it's amazing, and how they could have moved that and not really, right, although.
Oh, yeah,
fix that,
that's Tim's other point. There's no broken plaster. He said you can't move a brick house that's all plastered and not get cracks in the plaster.
They may have fixed it all too.
Ah.
Oh, well, anyway, it's cool that they're.
1965, I mean, it's
Well,
just
the people
like.
say they do fix it all. Yeah, I think so.
No,
The foundation's
that's not including houses.
No, I mean, the people that lived in it might have fixed it once it got moved.
No, it's History Colorado's, it has been since
Since they moved it?
Since they moved it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
No,
okay.
not like me at all.
Okay.
But hopefully they love their restoration, so we can continue with it, because the window frames need to be done, and yes, then the discussion becomes use of it, because it is an extraordinary structure, inside and out. So hopefully it will use, but sorry, I was gonna send that in to you, actually, and I just never did.
That's really cool. Mark, do you have any updates on Koski?
We're gonna get started here shortly.
Anything else? Okay. Good.
Okay.
We're gonna start on the porch and we have a mason hired for the walls, so.
Great, yeah.
Hey, Mark, when you get a minute, can you just, shoot me the name and phone number for the mason?
Yes, I can. Yep.
I wanna contact him for that monument in Strauss Park.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't have any Excel updates. If Cindy, do you know anything else since our last meeting?
Well, no, but this would, we may not know, is that the next step that Casel's gonna take is to do a bypass. So they're gonna be putting on the creek into a bypass to get around the reservoir, and, you know, that doesn't affect anything that's within our town boundaries, but that is the next step of what's happening up there. And they're doing studies for noxious weeds and boreal toads.
Unbelievable.
And threatened endangered plants.
There's a go. Now
We have all those things.
Yeah, that was a big fall on it now.
Yeah. 10:36, I talked about with Rick, and he wasn't sure if we really have any teeth for that, but code does give us full authority to pull a CO or anything like that if they're out of compliance with the COA, so I will be pursuing that. Bighorn Crossing has their site plans approved by Ryan and Craig and Rick, and they are now having their actual architectural engineering, all of that being approved by DOLA. Once DOLA approves it, they will send it to us. We will submit it to Safe Built for Safe Built approval and Bob as well.
DOLA.
The Department of Local Affairs, yeah.
What is their role?
They are actually doing the plan review and the inspections, because all of it is prefab state inspections that are done somewhere else, and then they deliver the entire structure here and stacked on top of each other. And then Safe Built does some of the exterior.
Oh, so, yeah, so they're doing what happened to our reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes to, because you're reporting it goes to a state. I didn't realize that DOLA were doing inspections.
I think it's a new thing, was what I'm sort of hearing, is that they, or maybe they used to do it, but people didn't know about it, and so they're making a bigger effort to make sure that they're involved with this
Yeah,
kind of
anything
stuff.
manufactured somewhere else has to pass the state. I thought it was some sort of state building department. I didn't realize that it.
Yeah, they outsource, I can't remember the acronym, there's a private company that does like the initial review, and then DOLA looks at it after they get it, so, but it is in the DOLA stage right now. They expect it'll come back next week. Bob has notes on the site plan if you wanna talk about those.
Yeah, that's what I added to the agenda. I looked at their submittal for the site plan, which is that roll of paper over there. And there were three areas. One is concrete, and and if you're in agreement, I typed up something. I just basically want to make sure that they get the town information. I've included the little thing that we put together here a while back that explains what we expect of the concrete. Signposts, they talk about at least the bottom part of some signposts to be painted yellow, and I don't think we like yellow. We want either something to blend in with the landscape like white or Forest Service brown. That's the comment I made, that signposts and supports shall not be painted yellow. Posts should blend into the landscape by painting white. Well, first, of course, there's Brown's reference to sheet 21. Then, the trash enclosure design looks good. It's basically a metal enclosure with, steel posts and, steel, cladding in between. It's got a door and all that stuff. My only question was, does our standard for, I thought it was that we wanted wood, like cedar siding on enclosures, trash enclosures?
Yes.
This, what they're proposing is a metal, they call it urban bronze, which is kind of a dark,
Mhm.
I think it's the copper, a little bit of copper, and use the picture I can do, pull up. And I didn't know whether we wanted to say that we wanted more natural finish than metal.
I think it needs to be the most durable thing they can put up.
Well, that would be metal.
Yeah, because, well, just to be so.
Why are they not back here with the final details on those kinds of design? I mean, why,
Well,
why?
where did we get to the streetlights? Okay, that's the other,
This is an audit. They didn't, if these changes exist from the original COA, then we were catching them in that. I don't think
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't look at what was originally proposed for
We didn't.
trash
do-
enclosures.
I don't think we did trash enclosures, I don't think we did streetlights, I
We
don't.
did, oh, yes, we did.
Well,
Way back when, because I
Way
got the
back
drawing.
on the original one.
What we approved for streetlights looks like what's on Argentine North in terms of the pendant.
And the
And,
height's 14.
and the height is 14 feet, and the posts are like what's down at the hotel down there.
Yes.
The wooden posts, and I'm fine with that. What they are proposing are 20-foot cobras, and I'm saying, my comment on that is the proposed streetlights are commercial cobra head style lights on 20-foot poles. These are unacceptable, period. ERC previously approved pendant style architectural lights on built-up wooden pole with light source no higher than 14 feet above road or walkway surface that are full cut-off dark sky compliant. See attached Rose Mill development lighting drawing. So I would intend to send them this and say, this is what we
you
expect.
can do,
But they need to apply for an
Yeah.
amendment to.
Yeah, they have-
We didn't. They aren't gonna change any of what we approved to begin with, they.
Well, I mean, this is the same issue that we always have, is, and this is why we have it in our code now. Thou shalt send us construction drawings before you get a permit, because we don't trust you.
yeah.
And we have reason for not trusting you.
Yeah, we need to.
I'm sure we did not do dumpster enclosures because they were all individually owned units at that time.
That's right,
So the.
Well, we did for the apartments, so.
Well, the apartments, that's already ongoing.
Oh, I know, I mean, I don't know if there's anything in previous
They
submittals,
didn't do what they were supposed to do on those.
No.
no.
So,
No, yeah,
so I would rather have something very sturdy, because, that enclosure that Excel put around the gas, thing there,
Yeah.
like Family Dollar, probably something. The backside faces, the mountain
Yeah,
there.
I mean, I think the structure is fine, it's a metal supported structure, it's not, it's in concrete and everything. So I think that's fine, just a matter of are we fine with the metal siding on it?
I don't think we're deciding that tonight, I don't think.
Well,
that's-
Bob's trying to advise them on what, and then they have to.
Yes, yeah, I understand you're sort of doing a preliminary review for them in that case.
No, I'm doing it fine. These are construction drawings for permitting. This is where we check to make sure that we're getting what we are expecting.
And so this stuff was on the final drawings.
Yeah, these are stamped drawings going
Okay,
for permitting.
okay.
Well, at this point, I would say that we would say they cannot go for permitting because they are not in keeping with the certificate of appropriateness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly,
that would be.
and this is what I was,
And because
Yeah,
of
these
the
are the
reasons,
reasons.
and these are the reasons, and so I would even turn that into a motion. But I need some sort of a, number or a, what was the number of this certificate of appropriateness when it was granted?
The last one,
I can look it up.
The last one, but let's not worry about looking around at this second, but it needs the number, the certificate of appropriateness that was granted on this project.
That's all we need.
Yes, yeah, so I.
I'll
will
say
be-
too, maybe if you wanna wait until we get the engineering plans for the rest of the building, so we give them a comprehensive review, not just the site plans.
I would like them to understand right now that their certificate of appropriateness, you know,
It's
that
not being built.
is not being fulfilled, that the plans we see thus far are not in keeping with the certificate of appropriateness number, whatever, you know, for the, in regard to the following, and the streetlights, the enclosure, the trash enclosure, and the concrete.
Yeah, and the other thing I had is I looked at, they have a landscape plan, and it shows, all shrubs over it. So you're looking, I thought we had some trees, but
Yeah, we did, and the landscape plan, so there are 4 items, We got- 5 that we know of, what are the,
Concrete, signposts, trash enclosures, streetlights, landscaping.
yes, and that these items are not in keeping with the certificate of appropriateness, and, well, you know, it can't go for a building, well, that's my motion, that if it's not in keeping, please inform them that the drawings will not be advanced to the building department until those are remedied.
okay.
Okay, just for, transparency, I will be consulting with Jerry about this since there have been.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
we should reference the code,
But that was the motion.
and I think it's,
I'll second.
when, in the letter should reference the code that brings these plans back to us before they get final, before they get issued a building permit. That these changes have to be made.
Because the town board did that not that long ago, they passed the that procedure.
I thought it
And
was
so we
good.
want, you know, in keeping with that. we
Susan, did you
say-
get a motion and a second
Yeah.
on that? Okay. Can we, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Are you ayes
I
4?
think they're eyeing 4.
Okay. And against? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I thought they were bringing back the dumpster enclosure plan.
I
They didn't
saw-
have any- they didn't have any.
She sent me that,
Yeah, that
I mean,
was.
this is for us.
she knows where that drawing is, and if we can find the landscape plan, that.
So is your thought to
There
do
is a landscape.
the meeting and adjourn and then do your work session?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Works for me.
Detail that is.
Sorry, I have a couple more. Oh, so, there's a revitalizing Main Street grant. It's a 10% match up to, wrote this down somewhere, $250,000. And it's intended to, or Cindy mentioned to me that a project that she thinks would be good for the town would be continuing and repairing the sidewalk on Rose Street from downtown to the
Down to the park.
to the city park, yeah. And this grant pretty directly would definitely fund a project like that. I talked to Mary Sims, you know, it's dependent on if we have money for that to match, but I just wanted to throw it to you guys because.
So it's actually 5,000.
200, yes.
Yeah.
If we wanted the full 250. You know, if we had 1,000, we could still get 10,000. I don't know. I'm sure that project would cost more than $10,000, but,
No, but $100,000 is matching 10, you know, we got a $10,000 match, so, you know, at that point, it's. I would say just, in order to write any form of grant for the town, you need the approval before the select.
yes, I did bring it up to them on Tuesday. They are going through ARPA funds right now, so I wanted to mention it to them in case they wanted to set aside any money from that for infrastructure.
Because that, yeah,
Yes.
so
And I know at least Rob seemed supportive. We didn't take a formal motion on it, but
You will need a formal motion in the record, okay? That's just the way it goes. Because you have to say that the board has told them that you can speak in your name to apply for money.
And if you're interested,
Yeah, no,
can we make a motion or make a recommendation to pursue it?
I
Because
guess,
I'd be more than happy, and I've got good numbers that we can apply to it for
yeah.
what it would cost, so.
And thankfully, this is what they call a small infrastructure grant, which means that they do it on the basis of purchase order. So if you are funded, what you get is a one-page document and you don't have to go through the going through the budget. So, you know, if we can keep making them for a couple $100,000 a couple times a year, it would just be very nice.
Well,
It's exactly the same the program that.
the two of them would sell Strauss Park, so
Yeah, we've done two of them.
we need furniture for Strauss Park.
We've done three of them actually, because the street furniture came out of one and the restroom came out of another. And the third one is back to Strauss Park. But this money will start flowing in a couple of years because of how it goes, so we should go back to them as frequently as.
Could we add some more furniture to this?
they have a rolling application. The next deadline is April 26th, so there's another one in July, I think, and another one in.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're gonna make April 26th because, well,
I mean, I think we could.
Well, the Board of Selectmen is working on their ARPA fund, like distribution. So I don't know how long it'll take them to decide on how we're gonna allocate those funds.
but get your numbers, so you know what you're asking for, someplace between 10 and 25,000, and you know what your scope of work is.
Okay.
So budget and scope of work,
I can do that.
and budget and scope of
In the next
work
week.
is the basis of the thing, and then if you look at what they're asking for on this, there's a lot of, sweet talk. Well, there is, so you look at the fill-in paragraphs and figure out if you need letters of support, and so you can get all that stuff long before you, because the town's gonna say yes at some level. So, you know, my advice is get this stuff going, and I'm happy to read.
I think the biggest thing here is
Oh, you do, yeah?
I can help write it. I've been through the one that we got, that we're spending this year. I think safety is one of the parameters.
It's always.
And
Accessibility.
that sidewalk is a disaster.
Yes,
Pieces of it here and there are good, and and plus people.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, if you walk down and you get an award, if you walk from the park to downtown without falling and tripping and breaking something. I mean, it's horrible.
No, everybody just wants to street.
But no, I think, you know, just go through some of it, because people have a tendency to try to convince readers that we live in a wonderful place. They don't care. You have to be really direct in answering the question asked.
Okay. I'm pretty good at that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like.
Okay, I am at a conference next week, Wednesday through Friday.
Well, I'll take the first shot at some of the, I can get the scope of work together and, you know, estimated pricing and all that stuff. So that's the key.
That's the hard.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
Well, we haven't discussed park, we have all the numbers, and they're current.
And, I didn't put it on here, but Bob and I are doing an inspection Bob's doing an inspection, I'm just following him around on 1002 Main Street tomorrow for like a final DRC inspection before he gets his CO. So also my friend Leslie is gonna be here. I'm excited about that too. Oh, really?
So I said, sure, we got a party.
Yeah, the one thing is that what we're giving COs before any landscaping is done, and we're doing that all the time.
Yeah.
And we somehow need to be able to, I don't, When we did the school, all we could get was a temporary certificate of occupancy because the outside wasn't finished. And I don't know whether that's a tool or not a tool, but frequently we give a CO because the house is ready. The land is not ready. And so think about that one a little bit on how.
Well, that would be my recommendation tomorrow. I mean, I know that the landscaping is not done, the driveway is not in.
Yeah,
The concrete part of the driveway is there, but the rest of it is, birds and piles of rubble.
Okay.
I think we should talk to Rick, and you can look at the code and see if we have a latitude to give it temporary. I'm fine with that. I mean, that,
We can withdraw a CO. I don't remember
think-
if we're allowed to only issue a temporary.
Safe Bill issued me a temporary. It said temporary CO on it.
Sorry, the town can give people temporary COs, I should clarify. I'm not sure if the DRC has the power
No, we don't have
to
the power.
withhold the CO.
no, we just make a recommendation. Our recommendation would be to issue a temporary permit for occupancy until the
Landscape is still
landscaping is done. And that would be a good procedure, because we have this issue on virtually everything, because, things get done in the middle of winter, early spring, and, it's not feasible to.
Yeah, and it's a little bit less,
Well, it doesn't really hurt, but they know they're on the hook.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Probably want to have a time frame too.
Yeah.
6 months.
It has to be
Yeah,
done.
that's what mine was,
6 months.
was 6 months. I remember that because we needed to get in the door and State Bill was holding us up on the fact that the parking lots didn't have.
Okay, that's all I have. Okay,
It was the middle of the winter. they couldn't possibly-
We have minutes. I did read these earlier. Nice job. And the only thing I saw, which I don't think is anything that needs to be changed, on the Honolulu conceptual review, did we really say from the corner of the building out to the street? Or the fence would have to be no higher than 4 feet from the corner of the building out to the street. It's not going out to the street, is it?
No,
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure we don't have a fence all the way.
no, it's just going to the corner of the property, because then you have the town
Yeah,
Well,
easement.
then.
One side of
Then it should.
Corner of the building out to the property line.
Property.
yeah.
Okay,
You think you better.
no, that's right.
And no one's going to the street.
Yeah, I was like, nobody.
And then into the street and you have to drive around.
And, also, I left that meeting at some point, and when a member gets up and leaves, we should indicate
Oh,
that
yes.
the member has left.
It was right before Brian Schmidt-Kearns
Yes,
recorded.
yes, right, right. And there was one other small thing, if I can find it again, it was a, well, it was about spelling thing, I did a circle. It was FOR when it didn't need to be FOR. So, well, it's, I mean, it's,
Who else has lost these?
It's a lot of enforcement areas. Enforcement areas a year. So. Good to go.
Okay, so for your motion,
I make a motion to, approve the minutes
I'll second.
with the changes.
with the changes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, let's adjourn and we will have work session on streetscapes.
I'm ready.
Susan, you can believe that. Have a nice
okay. It's not nice.
Do you want to turn off?
Well.
Well, the boys are on,
Well,
but
yeah, you guys will stay.
I'm gonna have to leave anyway, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, are you gonna stay for the work session?
Yes, I will.
For streetscapes, okay. Can you show it? You know what's turned off, don't you? Are you saying?
I'm gonna stay, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay. I think it's appropriate to report it online though, so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you have to do reports for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I have a question. Education has provided what sort of, part of what exists on page 53. And then we have sort of added a bunch of other components. And we're saying that the streets, are we calling this the streetscape? And we're including streets and sidewalks and trees and lighting and furnishings. Is that, is that how we're defining streetscape? I just want to know that we have the components straight.
Yeah.
I think, what else would it in?
Well, we've got drainage in there, and I'm not sure that drainage is,
It would be a DRC thing.
no, I don't think that is the DRC thing. I
It
think
would
drainage
be-
impacts how people treat streets,
Mhm.
but not how they necessarily treat the surface or the look of the street. They treat the shape of the street to get the drainage. So I'm not sure if drainage is.
But
I assume you'd wanna have some kind of, like for pans, right? Like the color, stuff like that.
yeah, and that, well, I did a quick look earlier tonight. The town has a set of construction guidelines.
Yes.
It's like that thing. And it covers all of the kind of stuff that goes into building streets and sidewalks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that we need to go through that and either add our criteria into it or link it to this in some way. Because it doesn't really address, I didn't see anywhere quickly going through it where it addressed, colored concrete or aggregate finish or any of that kind of stuff. So that's something that, I can put it on my list, I'll take a look at it and bring it to you guys. In a month or two.
But that's because that's my second question. My first question was, what are the components of what we are thinking of as streetscape? And we have the fact that curb cuts, or the water pans should be unobtrusive color, so we do have water pans on the streets. And my second question was, where should these reside? Not only,
They should, I think they belong in the town's construction guide.
I think they belong in parts of them may belong in the town's construction guidelines. I think they also belong in our guidelines, but right now they are scattered in pieces all throughout our guidelines. Do we want a set of them? The other thing is that they will differ depending on your design district. Because our statements about streets and historic commercial, they all ought to be paved. Because because of the level of traffic, the sidewalks probably all ought to be flagstone. That's probably not true for all of historic residential. And it's certainly not true for hillside. So how do we accommodate, the differences in place? Because for us to say, when you get, we have generalities about sidewalks, they should be compatible with the historic character of the streetscape. That's not terribly helpful. To anybody.
Right.
So I'm wondering, I'm linear, what I'm trying to do is organize this in a.
I think you bring up a really good point. I think probably the way to address it would be we could create a separate document, because I don't think it would be all that big, that deals with DRC requirements for sidewalks and roads and that kind of stuff by the different areas of town.
By your character area.
These are our requirements, then that document needs to get reference from the DRC guidelines as well as from the
Right.
town construction guidelines, so it ties it all together, but it'd be nice to have a single document that's concise. Here's the bottom line,
Yes.
and it should address parking lots as well.
Yeah.
And we could talk about where we are with Strauss Park and some things that are going on there.
Well, streets are not going to be on 99.9% of our applications, nobody's putting in a street or anything.
Right.
Yeah, we
But
don't
we're
just
just
read
talking about the
guidelines.
general guidelines for the town.
That's right.
So it shouldn't, I think maybe once in our book.
We can, if you're putting in the streets, you need to go to the town's construction guidelines as well as the DRC guidelines by year. Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think that I thought to this, because I kept trying to find different pieces of it through all of that's what I spent a while doing this afternoon, is, we don't want to find pieces of this through books 2 and books 3, and I think to collect it out, like you were talking about, and have a section, maybe 2 sections, one section that goes with book 2, here's the street guidelines, because they may be significantly different for the historic zone than they are for the Millside and the Meadows, and you'd have a little section here that was for that part also. And there also is a discussion of parking lots in this book already, and the parking lots, very distinctly say you may not be asphalt paved. And that's what they say, you can have all kinds of surfaces, but not black. That's the.
And is that everywhere in town, or is that just in the story?
But I can't find that's not, it's essentially in book 2, it is not.
I think that makes sense, because
That made a great deal of sense.
it makes more sense for the stuff we're adding down, because the drawings there, as best I can tell, they call for asphalt paving for the road. The roads down there, and I think that's appropriate,
The roads.
the road down.
Well, but not all roads, because you can't simply say everything in the Millside and the Meadows.
New develop, I'm saying it's
Something
development.
about Bighorn right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Except that we distinctly said that the Bighorn was not supposed to have asphalt paved streets.
We said the same thing about the hotel, it's asphalt.
And we said the same thing about.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
But we gave them an option that it could have been. Our option was to really make it a chip and seal, which is an asphalt with a chip and seal.
yeah, it's essentially the same.
Yeah, but it doesn't look the same. I mean, if you do a decent chip and seal, that you have a whole different
Because
character.
I don't think we want the roll, millions.
No, we do not. We'd like to get them to stop throwing millings on our streets up here. Because
But I mean, I think, I don't see a problem with it. If the town wants to go ahead and pave down by the lake, basically the book 3 area. I don't have a big problem with that. That's not as historic as the downtown.
Yeah.
It has a definite character that we're trying to maintain.
Well,
Yes,
new
except-
development is a new development, it's not part of the old historic town. And with the wind and the traffic, and, we don't want it to be a bog.
Because, I mean, the town has a definite push to want to get something more, to have more asphalt. I mean, that's clear.
Yeah.
So this might be a good compromise.
Well, yes, but I would say there are a couple of things that tie the meadow. The Meadows doesn't look like a suburban housing development. And one of the reasons it doesn't look like suburban housing development is, well, first of all, every house is different than every other house, which is what it has in common with the rest of us. The other thing that it has in common with the rest of us is it isn't full of concrete and asphalt. And that is the other piece that visually ties it to us. So I think we want to be careful about saying, oh yeah, just go ahead and pave everything down the meadows. I'm not sure that people
Well,
will
that's
live
not
there.
everything, but any major. thing
Yes,
down
but
there.
I think that we get very definite. Yeah, you absolutely have to do Main Street, you absolutely have to do Clear Creek Drive, you have to do, but we're saying you have to do that up here too. But we're saying, you know, you can have side streets that don't have asphalt and sidewalks going up them. And I think a number of the people actually do live on some of the circles down there and some of the back spaces. Don't want paved entries.
Yeah.
They really don't. So yes, they want their streets maintained.
Yeah, and I agree, but I'm just saying, I think there will be a different set of requirements
Yes, they
down
will.
there than there are up here.
Right,
And,
that's why I say you're gonna have a thing for
I
book
think-
2 and a thing for book 3.
yeah, I think that's,
So this is book 3. And, it's automobile circulation and parking, which is chapter 7, or section 7, I don't know the chapter. But it says, minimize the surface area of paving, page 54, if that helps.
You know, I've also paperclip 83 in book 3.
Okay.
Because I've paperclipped the places I've found.
Chip and seal may be considered, but large areas of blacktop or plain asphalt are inappropriate.
Yep. Are you on 53?
Mm-hmm. 54.
54.
both three or
Book 3.
In book 3.
Oh. No, that's book 2.
And even in the residential, parking and driveways, you know, we use the materials that will minimize the impact the driveway has on the streetscape, aggregate and concrete, chip and seal are appropriate paving materials, not black asphalt. Because we're really trying to have a town that's not full of black asphalt.
Yeah.
Because there are other, but it says plain plain asphalt or black top is not appropriate in all cases, but may be considered on a case by case basis. And this is because there's some really steep inclines down there that, you know, but yeah, there are pieces of book,
well, then that's another comment then to those, I mean, it wasn't terribly clear to me, but I didn't look in a lot of detail. The impression I got is that the roads, basically all the roadways within the big one would be paved with asphalt, because they talk about asphalt, plain and simple.
Yeah.
They don't talk about chip seal or anything else. So maybe we can add that before we send it back.
and chip seal is an asphalt base with chip seal on top of it. I mean, it is an asphalt road.
Yeah, and it's gonna be flat, it's, you know, from the highway, it's gonna look like asphalt. Because it's flat,
It's what?
it's flat.
No, not necessarily. The chip seal they put on Vanilla Pass is gray.
Yeah.
And
People
Well,
go-
it looks like asphalt. I mean,
And when they changed it, when it was black asphalt, before they chip sealed that road, you had a whole different sensation driving it. And when I wish they would re-chip it now because the chip seal on this end wasn't done terribly well, but, you know, country roads in a lot of states are, you know, when you really get out in the country, you get on those sort of
it's the
breaks.
poor man's asphalt.
Yeah, yes, and it, you know, it looks more country road. We're not trying to look like suburbia, even in the meadows. And the people who live there, by and large, don't wanna look like suburbia either.
You know, Sean, the apartments that are, not the apartments, but the, townhomes, that road that goes through there, I think that's just,
It was asphalt at one time.
was it
It
asphalt?
looks like it, yeah.
That's kind of dirt.
It was done very poorly, but
Yeah, because I mean, it's like our
Like the whole road.
yes,
black stuff.
Yeah, the base, it didn't have a good base and not enough asphalt, so it's all.
Especially if the road was not constructed, I mean, they just
That's definitely
pulled asphalt.
something
over
you'll
the
need to
earth.
talk to them about with their new plans is the,
Well, I thought they were supposed to be stick built, but they're all vinyl.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to be stick built
This is,
also.
oh, yes, the new ones, the,
Yeah.
the new apartment.
The new minis, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanna see what they look like.
They're all Marshall?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why they're
That's
going
how
to the
we sat
state.
there and said.
Oh, I know.
That's not, that's why they're going to the
You're
state.
gonna have,
That's why we definitely want to see
yep.
all that stuff before.
Yeah,
they get
Everything
built.
they tell us here is not what they do.
I know.
He asked me, he was like, if I get a nice guy discount, I was like, I think I have to charge you a fine, actually.
no.
That would be no, that would be no.
Just like
Because
the
you
apartments.
say this stuff that you're supposed to do, that doesn't make it nice.
So, on this, cause we talk about streets, lots. But we also will have the issue of sidewalks in each of the areas. And I think the way, and street trees, that's going to undoubtedly be sort of an optional thing if they were all up and down our major streets here. Argentine had them, Rose had them, Taos had them. Main Street had some too, street trees. But that's hard because they tear up streets and sidewalks. So that's gonna be an interesting one. Lighting, what are we really talking about in lighting? Are we talking about the lights that people have on the front doors? Are we talking
Well, that
about?
goes on housing application, so I think
Yeah,
it's just.
it would be street lighting.
Like, it was just street.
We have basically 4 styles of street light. 5 if you count the Cobra heads that are on.
We don't have.
So Beth Luther showed us some cool, like, internet lights that look historic, that she thinks maybe you guys would like. So that's like, Dr. Cobb. Just, you know.
I mean, there's all kinds of architectural lighting.
Yeah, but you see, the county says that their lights in their parking lot are dark sky. I mean, you
But
can.
what's down here?
The orange ones?
Yeah.
No, the ones,
The
yeah,
ones
right by the
that-
sheriff's office and in their back parking lot.
Mhm.
And you get up on that mountainside and you can see them just brilliantly at night.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I
Well, I
think it
think,
will be interesting
we-
to look at the 4 varieties that we do have. And I told you the story when the light got killed over by my house, and they said, well, we don't have a Georgetown light to put back up. The only thing we have is a Cobra head. I said,
They actually said that.
yes, they said that to me. I said, skip the light. And they said, don't you need it? I said, no. Just skip the light. But what was interesting to me, we have some sort of an agreement with Excel about what they can put up as lights, and I don't know what it is. So, but we do, and they have to use wood poles for us. We have some kind of a thing in writing with Excel at the moment. And so I think we need to find it. I also asked downstairs, while I'm thinking of it, for the franchise agreement that we have with Excel, that's part of. And Jen just found it and sent me a copy, so if you could grab a copy of that. The other interesting piece in that is I think the franchise agreement says that we have the first right of refusal on any property that Excel thinks he wants to sell.
No.
Wow.
I think that's what it says, because I think it was the one negotiated by Tom Hale.
This is why we have it.
So I haven't read it, because I haven't had time since she sent it to me late afternoon. But
I know we have it for the parking lot.
Excel believes they own our streetlights down here. We bought them, we put them in, we designed them, but we asked them to service them. And they say because we asked them to service them, we gave them to them.
Wow, so nice of you.
Jerry Hall will be happy to charge back, and you might have for good information, if you're talking to Jerry, ask him the story about the Excel streetlights on Sixth Street.
Can we come back?
Well, we think they're still ours, and that one that is so out there, we gotta fix.
Well, I just need to get Kevin, because I'm not climbing up a ladder to go in and pull that apart, but if I get Kevin to do
It
it.
needs different glass.
It just needs a bulb, different bulb.
Oh, okay.
But I also want to figure out how to put outlets in those for streetlights.
So we're not putting little tags on the
So we
bottom.
don't have the little extension cords coming out of the bottom.
Anybody can plug into it.
Well, that doesn't bother me as much as anybody can, you know, who are playing around with that plug and get electrocuted.
Right.
That's what bothers me more.
That gets a little serious. But
Well,
I still think
it's
it's
natural
figure out where
selection.
we are.
Yes.
Somebody wants to charge.
Mhm.
And then parking lot lights, we need to have a standard thing. for parking lots. So the,
Well, I was pleasantly surprised with what I found that we had, because they look very much like the pendants that
this is
are
why
on
we picked.
oxygen, which I, you know, that was a stroke of genius to do that. But I mean, that's what we want. They will be the LED type because you won't be able to get the time that has bulbs anymore, but
Right, yeah, and we
They
have
have
to.
colors on those.
What?
They have colors on LEDs.
yeah, but it's,
Right, there's still bright in
If
the
they-
face if you don't have the diffuser.
Yeah.
we're gonna convert the few remaining down here that are, got the white plate on the bottom and got the glare.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut the glare off because they really do get
Yeah.
really blurry. But, yeah, so the lighting stuff, will be lighting essentially for parking lots.
I think,
And that's.
any outdoor light. And street lighting.
And street lighting.
We got this, with the string lights. It's a special effect lighting.
Oh, I think you guys
There's a-
asked me to
there's-
take that off.
There's a few properties in town that have string lights up and they're extremely bright.
Yes, that's true, and what did we have an ordinance about the fact that you can use that kind of lighting for.
We have temporary holiday lights.
As temporary holiday, but they're not disappearing.
Right. So that would be more of a code enforcement thing. We actually had this
It's
discussion.
all
about-
One of my main ones
Discussion
is
about
Fox.
that attack.
They're deck lighting.
Oh, yeah, but that's commercial, and that's their lighting out there.
That's the lighting the deck, but it doesn't meet any of our,
I know, it doesn't, you can't keep those on all the time.
and they're on all the time, every night.
Yeah,
You mean 24/7?
yeah, but they're on.
No, they turn off during the day, but
Are we talking about the house on Taos Street?
We're talking about. the
I've got a house
phones.
behind me that leaves their string lights on in their backyard all night long.
We'll get right on that.
my neighbor
It
does
literally
that.
looks like they're having a party in their backyard every single night. Cause they blink.
Sneak over there with your wire cutters, you know.
My neighbor has them in his front yard. And
Yeah, because
I
I,
think
My
it's
neighbor
turn
has
off
the
now.
deck behind his house.
This is a recorded meeting, so maybe don't recommend sabotage or.
But, you know, this guy's kind of-
But that, I was wondering about that. So
maybe the town needs to put out
a little notice.
reminder to
They give
people
you
what
a
the
background
sky
picture when you come for the evening, and then you turn them off.
Well, that's fine,
That's what-
Yeah, but when they're on it, when they're on.
They
all
need
the
to be
time.
on.
but when they're on, you know, for like 8 days in a row without, you know, day in, day out, morning, afternoon, evening.
Yes, it's bothersome to your neighbors. Because part of the reason we're up here is we like the dark.
Okay, well, I always. Lights it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Well, it's true. You can actually see the stars sometimes. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah, it was
while
like shielded
this
or
place
something,
to my
like it was
house,
a
I've been
flood
been
the whole
treated
area,
with the
right?
entire Milky Way.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
I don't think it'd be working out.
We do like the dark.
If it's middle of winter,
It's dark.
Something like, yeah,
Okay, and medians here, what we were talking about is that area. We're not talking about a median in the middle of a road, we're talking about, are we? Or are we talking about the,
It's
it's between the sidewalk and the road?
yes, the turf, tree lawns and pavers that separate the street from the sidewalk.
Okay, but wait, as far as medians, and a friend of mine that's an engineer was actually here a while back, I think I told you that. When you get off the highway going eastbound, turn into Georgetown, and then the person in front of you stops to turn left into the gas station, because there needs to be a median there.
So I'll
That's,
say there's
that's
regional,
CDOT's right away. We have no way to do anything.
We
on
can't
that
block left-hand turns and
No.
so that everybody has to go
street.
around.
No, we can't do anything, but the only way we got the roundabout is that a small piece of it sits in CDOT's right of way. So we could tell them we needed it.
Well,
but it means 15th Street there, underneath that bridge, does not belong to us, it belongs to CDOT.
CDOT needs to put a median there.
CDOT needs to fix the drainage too.
Yeah, no kidding, that whole thing's gonna fall out.
The whole highway comes down.
Yeah, but you can't turn left out of the visitor center.
I know.
Go around the roundabout, that's why it's there. Anybody else?
but that's
You
it.
can tell the people when they grow up.
I can't, it's every year. But yeah, it's not, that space along the sidewalk is not called a
That's a-
median. I'm
yeah.
searching for the word and I'm not sure that.
That's actually a regional word that changes. I took like where are you from language quiz, and that's one of the questions they asked.
What do you call that space?
I don't have a word for it in California. This was what they used in the Denver streetscapes.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yeah, because, and that's a typical Denver street, was what our typical streets were too, you had a sidewalk. I mean, the whole intent of the width of the street was that you were gonna have 5 foot of sidewalk on each side, plus that 3 foot of planting, and so you were taking 16 feet off, and it left you with a 24-foot street, which,
We don't have space to put a row of planting next to a sidewalk.
except you do, all the way up and down Rose Street.
No,
You have had space.
I know. It's about that wide,
Yes, but that's because we had widened the sidewalks.
filled up with all the concrete that they did.
Yeah,
And so you can't, the dirt in some places is not like that.
that deep, yes. It's no longer useful
And
to
it's
us
actually
after
under-
and given that we have paved the streets.
Yeah.
Is what's happened. But what happened in this town is you built sidewalks and you had trees along the sidewalk and you had dirt streets. And it helped because that whole
Yeah.
break, because, you know, it
Yeah.
helped you a great deal.
Yeah.
There are wonderful pictures of the street trees in front of the school and stuff
Yeah.
that were planted at that time, but, so I don't know, we do.
On Road, just on that same side, on Rose Street, would it make sense if we wound up redoing the sidewalk to dig that area out to the curb so you could plant between the sidewalk and the curb?
It's still.
You're gonna have to dig it out, you're gonna have to dig out.
No,
I don't know, and that is the historic design of it, so even if something was put in it, the sidewalk should not butt the curb. But that's,
Well, yeah, the power lines are over on my side of the street, so you can't plant a tree that's gonna get
no, you're not.
tall at all, then, and it's gonna hump up the sidewalk, cause there's only this much space, even if it was dug out so that you could put a tree around.
Yeah, all you could plant would be like shrubs and flowers.
And like I
and
said, you
trees.
get in and out of the driveway, park there all the time, just tromp through everything.
Yeah,
We don't want trees growing back in because then we're,
no,
You gotta-
because the trees do.
we know what trees do, just look at Rose Street.
Yeah.
But those trees, the ones that came down in front of the Bowman White House had been planted in 1881.
How'd they come down?
And well, they just got old enough that they were falling down. It was like old cottonwoods, they were dangerous, they had to come down. I'm not objecting, I'm just sort of saying that's.
Oh, I had like 2, 3, do in front of like our streets.
Yeah,
And I want them taking them down, taking stumps, and grinding them
Yeah.
over the streets.
but you can still see some of where Argentine Street used to be in the earliest days. In that pizza picnic area, look at the line of trees, and those are the old houses, anyway. But so we do have, and as far as furnishings, we're really talking about public spaces. So I think that, neighborhood monuments, district markers, whatever, but this is a public space.
What's a tree?
So it's just clear to people that we are.
I don't know, that was on the Denver, I don't know
What
which
tree
tree.
getting you?
Do you want to know some other names for a median?
Yeah.
Sidewalk strip, tree lawn, parking strip, boulevard, hell strip, furniture zone, sidewalk buffer, neutral ground, yard staple, government grass, nature strip, the sidewalk, I like that one, and then devil strip.
That's
That's what.
That's what we got. Actually, I think the sidewalk buffer is what we're talking. That there needs to be some level of sidewalk buffer so that
Yeah.
the sidewalk's not spitting into the curb.
I like the sidewalk, I think that's cute. The sidewalk, yeah.
Okay, so we have a bunch of ideas on a bunch of things, and I think we are in agreement that we essentially need to pull it together into a separate section for each book.
Yeah, I think.
And the sections are based on, this is my lineal stuff, the sections are based on the various character areas. So we will end up repeating ourselves,
That's okay.
but that's okay,
Yeah.
if you are in the,
Right.
Does that sound all right as a format? Okay, then I think the game is that we take a run at it, for or something, we take a run on it so that we have a draft to work with. Because for us to sit here and try to put together a draft is crazy.
Yeah, okay, so how do you suggest we go about that?
Well, I suggest that a couple of us get together and Keisha, you have plenty of other kinds of things that you also need to be running around doing, so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that.
I'm not working on this, yeah, they took me off of it last meeting.
Yeah.
Let's
I can help
this. I mean, I'm working on it to the extent that you guys have.
Yeah, because it could get, actually, I'd love to put Brent on.
Well, he can pull up a lot of like the Denver stuff and I know that's what.
Yeah, but she
Yeah,
also
let's do
is very precise about what's going on here.
That's good.
Oh,
But I think that.
He's not busy right now.
Brent?
Yeah.
he's probably home to not.
Yes.
And make sure that you get alignment with that.
He's been voluntold.
He's not in the room.
Yeah, but we can't simply follow him. He needs, I will try working with Brent on this for a bit, okay?
Okay.
Because he and I can put our heads together and maybe come up with an outline and start to pull the stuff out of these books that needs to, that's what I was
He
starting
said
to
it's
do.
indexed on his computer, he can go up.
Yeah, everything by words,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, I mean, Brent will organize this thing just.
I'll send him this document too, so he.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, you can have this one if you want to give him one.
I'll just
Yeah.
give him my.
Well, but let's not just say, take this document and whatever, we need
No,
to talk
it's-
about how we're setting up the format. Because if we have the format together, it will be much easier. And so what I might try to do is take a run at a format. With this, yeah, we'll take a run at the format and then we'll get Brent to start to fill in the format.
Right.
Good.
And I think this is a good exercise.
It is.
Yeah. In the meantime, I really,
Stop the parking.
yeah, start with parking lot, so I guess but. I I think it's, I understand the desire to have a hard surface,
Service doesn't go over.
right. But I also we have now lived for 8 years with the ones at the school, and they have worked. We have lived with them directed by curb stops. We have lived with the curb stop idea without, stripes at the visitor center for 20 years, and we see over 500,000 people a year. And we do not get into traffic jams out there. Everybody looks at their curb stops and pulls into their curb stop. We do not need to strike the world.
I think the stripes is a down, because what it does, it tends to limit
Yes.
the number of cars. I mean, where there are no stripes, you get more cars.
Yeah, but
Because they crowd.
yeah, because they crowd in, but I think.
And
but
the
if
stripes
we
are part
really
of
can-
cost too.
What?
Yeah.
People with, some of the people with, the big parking lots, stripes are cheaper than curb stops.
I understand that,
Yes.
but we
I
don't
know
have to be.
One of the condo associations I deal with, that's why they stripe.
Yes, well, I can get that, but.
Is it Strauss Park that you're talking about?
Yeah, well, any place, but the difficulty of saying, okay, Rivertown, and even though the DRC has turned down the bank at putting asphalt behind them, and we have turned down behind Tommy's building when way back when he wanted to do that, it's staying in Greg's building now, but I mean, we've turned down people, the town wants to go ahead and excuse themselves. But think about what downtown looks like when you pave this, when you pave that, when you pave the entire back of all those buildings, when you pave Strauss Park. You have lost the sense of,
Right.
you've sunk us.
There are some alternatives to the paving.
Oh, yes, we certainly
And I
are.
think the one that I really would like to try is that gravel pit. See, I mean, if that works out well, the benefit is it's going to, really limit, water buildup. Because it's going to collect and then it's going to allow it to percolate into the soil, so the mud puddle problem goes. The surface should remain fairly flat and level and even, and it look pretty decent. I think it would be easier to maintain, certainly should be easier to maintain than a dirt parking lot with mud holes all through it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
very
good.
good.
I mean, we may to resurface it, put more gravel down every year or two or something like that, but that's not that big a deal. And, you get a truck, you throw some down, then you break it out and you're done.
And our parking lot down there is not road based, it is a crusher pine.
Yeah, it's a crusher pine.
And
It's the same kind of idea.
And it was rolled hard, and the thing is that you had to roll it hard, you couldn't just throw and that's the problem with throwing the waste land, is that they're useless, big potholes come right up through them, because unless you roll that kind of surface down hard.
You've got to get a good base underneath it. That's the whole key to
Yeah.
any of these things is you've got to take the organic matter out. And build up a base of, crushed stone, something that's inorganic and you can pack it down. And that's what we do at Strauss Park. And we'll either have a gravel surface or the gravel paved or some kind of an asphalt. It could be chip sealed. But I think the gravel paved probably would be worth trying.
And I would rather,
Well, and
Try
that's
the
a smaller
gravel.
lot to try now for,
It's gonna get bigger.
well,
it's gonna take out the tree,
Yeah,
it's a gorgeous tree,
yeah, it's dying, but it's a gorgeous tree.
it is a gorgeous tree.
And this is the opportunity. I mean,
yes.
now is the opportunity to do it. So
Yeah, I understand that. I would like to see us try some of the gravel solutions, which, before we head towards the chip and seal, because you see chip and seal wears off. And getting somebody to re-chip
it's harder to find something to do.
Yeah, well, it's hard to do it. I'm bugging Pearl Shell about doing parts of vanilla. But, that's. Great. Anyway, I think we've done it, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Good session. Thanks for staying.
And who's gonna tell us again?
Oh, I think we're gonna text them out.
Yes.
We nominated him, but
Yeah, yeah.
Check my emails, make sure
I'll work with him on.
all my stuff's put together, I'm ready for you, have my.
Actually, I just now got it.
Yeah, I'll meet you there.
It's gonna be easy.
There's a planning commission meeting next week that I unfortunately am not able to go
I'm sorry, what is the plan convention considering this group?
They don't have any applications, but they are working on a schedule to review